It's time for Officer Tatum. From what I saw of this video, I didn't watch a ton of it, and we're not going to watch the whole thing because it's like an hour long. But Tatum seems to be mad that right-wingers are not supporting the riot attempt on the 6th. So let's see how he justifies this shit.
What's going on, America? I couldn't help myself but to come on here and make this statement. I can't help myself. People are gonna get their feelings hurt. I understand that. I don't care. I'm not living for your feelings. I lost respect for everybody who has come out against what happened at the Capitol. I've lost respect for you. I'm just saying. Why, Brandon? Because you guys have been making money. You guys have been pitching. You guys have been making memes. You guys have been having conferences telling people, American people, war veterans, that in the 2020 election, this is what you've been telling people, that the Democrats did all of these things to take and secure a vote that's not validated. And you tell people to come to DC, you make people rally, you get them riled up, and you say they're gonna pack the courts, they're gonna push socialism on your kids, they're gonna destroy America, they're gonna raise taxes. And when people do something, not take selfies and send out promo codes and try to pump up their brand to make a statement and build their audience and do all this other stuff, when they actually go to try to stop it from happening, y'all come out against them?
He makes an interesting point, and one whose premises I agree with, but not the conclusion. So he's basically saying, so a bunch of right-wing pundits, everyone from Liberty Hangout to people like Styx to people like John Doyle and all them, they've been, banging the war drum for the last 2 months, or since the election, whenever that was. It's January, December, November, 2 months. So it's been about 2 months since the election, right? And they've been doing nothing but being like, fraud, 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 this election's a fraud, 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 all kinds of conspiracy theories. And now that people actually took action that is a predictable outcome of that sort of rhetoric, all of a sudden they're trying to disassociate themselves from the things they said and from the actions that are direct incitements from the things they told these people. I agree, that's hypocritical. These people use this conspiracy bullshit, this unfounded fascist rhetoric to enrich themselves monetarily if we're talking about merch sales, and through clout if we're talking about growing their pages, whether it's like a YouTube or a Facebook or a Twitter or a Parler or whatever it happens to be. And then when stuff actually happens, predictably, as a result of their actions, all of a sudden they feel the need to disavow it because they don't want to get in trouble for their stochastic terrorism, which is what it is. So I'm assuming this guy's just more mad like you should stand behind these people, when really the conclusion should be you shouldn't have used these inflammatory falsehoods to inflate your own brand in the first place. The fact that you did it is an indictment on your character. So, interesting point.
Listen, let me tell you something. I wasn't there. Why? Because I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna go do that. I'm not gonna do that. Because if I go, I'm going all the way. I'm not going in there to halfway take selfies and try to play around. I'm going in there to serve. So I'm not going in there to do that because I'm not in a position to do that right now. I'm not willing to die, and I don't want to go to prison for the rest of my life right now. So I didn't go down there to DC. But I'm not going to criticize people who, with all of that anger and fear and frustration, that they wanted to do something.
Wouldn't that also make you kind of a hypocrite, though, too? Because if you're saying you believe that the election was stolen, it wasn't, but you are claiming that it was, and you have been for months, but you're not willing to go and fight for it? Because, like, if I thought the election was legitimately stolen and that democracy was over, I would also be very, very frustrated. So it seems strange to me that he's calling other people hypocrites when he himself is saying, I'm not going to take any action on it. It's good for him to not take action on things that are objectively untrue, but nonetheless, based on his own internal framework, this also makes him not good.
And they halfway did something. These people out there taking selfies. We got people in
Night,
wheelchairs.
K-Cats.
Dude
Thanks for
arm
coming.
like this. He up in the thing. They got old ladies in there. Like, ain't nobody. Dude with cow skins, cow hide on, barely up in there. They in Nancy Pelosi's chair. Somebody was smoking weed in there. These people ain't really trying to take nothing over. They didn't take no computers. They went.
What? There was literally a computer stolen. Why did you go to the one example that actually literally happened? What? Computers were stolen, a cop was killed, a woman was shot, cops were injured because they were fist fighting the police in the Capitol building, which we watched videos of in some other like streams that we've done.
In there and left, and then they voted right after that. You occupy for 30 minutes, and
They were there for a couple hours. And again, a lot of cops and other people were injured. A cop was murdered by someone like beating him to death with a fire extinguisher to his head. There was a bunch of stuff like that.
cowardice conservatives are out here crying.
Weren't AOC's shoes stolen? I think that was a meme. I don't think that was a real tweet.
As if these people were occupying like they did in Oregon for 100 days and throwing bricks and Molotov cocktails at the Capitol building. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. I'm so
Did you just have someone in the background just to echo his shames? I need to hire someone to do that.
sick of conservatives being weak. You guys promote 1776. You guys out here, don't tread on me. You selling MAGA flags and you doing all of this stuff. You making videos saying, they are stealing our country. We got ballots under the table. You can't say that to people who have served in this country and fought in wars. And you're going to tell them that they finna make us a socialist country. People who have fled socialism. And you tell them, and you think that they're supposed to do what?
High five.
Dan Crenshaw, what should they do? What, I mean, do I need to call you out? Do I need to call people out?
Donate to Dan's campaign.
That's what they need to do. They spend.
Yes.
And I like Dan Crenshaw, but brother,
No.
when you start criticizing people for trying to stand up for what they believe, I'm not against the president saying we need to secure the Capitol, send in the police or whatever. I'm not against that because the president needs to secure the Capitol. That's just the way business works. And I'm not against people saying, look, I'm willing to fight over this. So send the people and we're gonna fight the people. That's how it works. Y'all are the same cowardice mother freaking people.
Is he gonna get banned off YouTube for this? Because it seems sketch.
That when y'all gonna wait till after the FEMA camps is up and ready, and then you wanna fight. And then what are you gonna do? See, you guys told us, and I'm a part of telling this, that's why I don't disagree with people getting mad and doing this. You told us that they were gonna ban us from social media, that they were going to pack the courts, and we would never have a conservative Supreme Court ever again. This is what you're telling people. You're telling people that they went out, and some of these people, and there's people that have fought in wars, that their vote didn't count, that they fought in a war for free and fair elections in a democracy, a constitutional republic.
No one alive today has ever actively fought for American democracy in a war. American democracy has not been under threat in any war in living memory. My goodness, people.
And then they just got thwarted. You in another country fighting and you get here and your vote don't count?
I killed a bunch of Afghani children. Now my vote doesn't count. The two are not related.
They didn't do enough, if you ask me. I thought that was a very weak approach because people were halfway. They didn't know if they're gonna jump in the jump rope or not. They going back and forth. They wasn't really doing nothing serious. Y'all crazy. They wasn't doing nothing serious. They don't even have weapons. Like, these people didn't even have weapons or nothing.
They did. People had Molotov cocktails. People had pipe bombs. People had guns. People had those zip tie cuffs to try and kidnap, like senators. People had weapons. Again, just blatantly lying.
No, they were taking selfies.
A cop got beat to death by one of the MAGA people with a fire extinguisher, like I said earlier.
They in there taking selfies, and they got old ladies in there scooting around, taking pictures and posing for their grandchildren and stuff. They ain't really in there trying to do that. I ain't see nobody throwing punches.
Trump got dropped by his bank. Does someone have a link on that?
Had that black police officer in the hallway, and they didn't even touch him. He was running up. The dang cameraman was following him like they recording a documentary. They got all this on camera. When the young lady lost her life, they had a dude was videotaping the Secret Service person shoot her. And then when she goes to the ground, there was only like 4 people in front of the door that were trying to get through the door. Only 4. There were 6 or 7 people behind them video recording on the cell phones.
SWAT team.
The SWAT team was behind her.
Wasn't a SWAT team, but okay. Trump got dropped by his bank. Deutsche Bank, which has been Mr. Trump's primary lender for 2 decades, has decided not to do business with Mr. Trump or his company in the future. Yes. Oh, God. I hate... hold on, let me log in. Log in. There we go. Look at me. I'm an adult. I have a New York Times subscription and everything. In the span of 4 days, President Trump's family business has lost its online store, the buzz from Mr. Trump's promotional tweets about its luxury resorts, and bragging rights as host to one of the world's most prestigious golf tournaments. The mob attack on Congress last week by Mr. Trump's supporters has spurred a reckoning for the Trump Organization by businesses and institutions at a scale far greater than his previous polarizing actions. And the Trump brand, premised on gold-plated luxury and super affluent clientele, may not fully recover from the fallout of his supporters violently storming and vandalizing the U.S. Capitol. Hospitality and analysts say, and some people close to the business acknowledge, other companies linked with the Trumps, including Deutsche Bank, the president's largest lender, and Signature Bank, are also seeking distance from him and his businesses. The backlash is part of a broader shunning of Mr. Trump and his allies, unfolding in the wake of the deadly assault on the Capitol. Schools stripped the president of honorary degrees, some prominent Republicans threatened to leave the party, and the New York State Bar Association announced it had begun investigating Mr. Trump's personal lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, which could lead to his removal from the group. As House Democrats introduced an article of impeachment on Monday, more than a dozen big businesses vowed to withhold certain political donations. Coca-Cola said it would pause donations from its Political Action Committee, saying in a statement that these events will long be remembered and will factor into our future contribution decisions. Marriott, the giant hotel chain, said it would pause donations from its Political Action Committee to those who voted against certification of the election, a reference to the congressional Republicans who joined Mr. Trump's false claims of election fraud. Morgan Stanley and AT&T said they too would suspend contributions to lawmakers. Don't you love that our system and the funding of elections hinges on fucking multi-billion-dollar corporations taking moral stands? The Trump Organization had already been facing considerable financial challenges. Many of its golf and resort properties had been losing money, and the pandemic had forced it to close some restaurants and bars and drastically reduce hotel occupancy, including at its hotels a few blocks from the White House. And with more than $300 million in debt coming due in the next few years that the president has personally guaranteed, there had been some urgency for the company to line up new deals. While such an array of challenges would spell doom for just about any hospitality brand, executives of the Trump Organization said they plan on cashing in on Mr. Trump's global fame with overseas branding deals. I don't think that's going to go well. There has never been a political figure with more support or energy behind them than my father, Eric Trump, the president's son, who helps run the family business, said in a statement on Monday. Here's the problem, though, as far as I see it. The Trump brand is predicated on luxury. At least that's the image they want to project through their, identity as a company or whatever. And the people who are hardcore Trump supporters tend to not be the most affluent. There are certainly rich people who support Trump because of, tax cuts and stuff, but they're not the people who are waving MAGA flags and storming the Capitol, right? So, unless Trump is about to open a chain of motels, I don't think that's gonna go super well. The family is also already considering starting a media outfit that would cater to Mr. Trump's tens of millions of supporters, an effort that gained some urgency last week when Twitter and Facebook barred the president from their platforms. There will be no shortage of incredible opportunities in real estate and beyond, Eric Trump said. Before becoming president, Mr. Trump had cycled through many lines of business, including casinos, an airline, and reality television. Some ventures were wildly successful, while others were colossal failures, but they revealed his ability to camouflage his wares and capitalize on opportunities even when his name appeared irreparably tarnished. This time, the challenges are steeper. The fallout began on Thursday when the e-commerce provider Shopify said it had terminated online stores affiliated with the president. The biggest blow came on Sunday when the PGA of America announced it would strip Mr. Trump's New Jersey golf club of a major tournament. Mr. Trump said to be gutted by the PGA decision, according to a person close to the White House, as he had worked personally for years to push the tournament executives to hold events at his courses. In a statement that hinted at potential legal challenge, the Trump Organization called the decision a breach of a binding contract, adding that they have no right to terminate the agreement. Again, I don't know what the contract between him and the PGA was, so... The PGA Championship, scheduled for May 2022, was the ultimate golf world trophy for the Trump brand, which over the last 2 decades has assembled an international collection of golf courses and resorts that now collectively represent about a third of the company's revenue, according to the most recent financial disclosure report. The tournament itself is not a major source of profit, but hosting an internationally recognized event is enormously valuable for marketing. It also would have bestowed greater legitimacy on Mr. Trump and his brand, which includes 16 golf clubs around the world. Quote, "It has become clear that conducting a PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster would be detrimental to the PGA of America brand," Jim Richardson, the PGA of America president, said in a video statement. "The loss associated with the cancellation is difficult to calculate, but it will be very large and last for years," says Jay Caron, chief executive of the National Golf Course Owners Association. "You have millions of avid golfers who have proverbial bucket list tied to major tournaments like the PGA Championship," he said. "If you had a major coming to you that it was pulled from you, that would certainly sting." The damage is expected to continue as various companies and industries reassess their relationship with Mr. Trump and his family businesses. Mr. Trump hotels, like the Trump National Doral near Miami, had already lost many of the major corporate conferences after he made the disparaging remarks about Muslims and Mexicans, among others. During his first presidential campaign and his comments after a deadly rally by white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017, suggesting that there is blame on both sides. But the fallout from the attack last week will be steeper and longer lasting, analysts and people familiar with the company said. Some members of the president's golf club are reassessing whether to keep their membership because of possible protests and vandalism, one of the people said. David Sangri, a hotel industry consultant from Ohio, said that Mr. Trump's role in the attacks on the Capitol would further undermine the company's efforts to appeal to affluent customers who are not Trump supporters. "This is a big negative," Mr. Sangri said. "There's no question they're going to lose more events because many groups are saying we don't want to be associated with that brand. Even plans to launch a Trump media platform will face obstacles. If Mr. Trump seeks to forge a new conservative news network or join the existing one like OAN or Newsmax, the corporate advertisers are hardly guaranteed to support him. There's only so much that MyPillow guy can subsidize," said John Klein, the former president of CNN US, referring to Mike Lindell, the chief executive of MyPillow, who's an outspoken supporter of the president. "It's suddenly a lot more daunting a proposition than it was a week ago for OAN and Newsmax. Instead, Mr. Trump might find more success in generating a newsletter embedded with a link to a streaming channel for millions of paid subscribers," said Mr. Klein, who is chairman of Tap Media's subscription streaming service. "He has ignited the passion of his tribe, and subscription services are all about tribalism." I could see that. I could see him starting some sort of Trump, streaming service, which would be bad. After Twitter permanently suspended the president's account on Friday, he suggested he might build his own social media platform, but doing so would likely present daunting logistical and legal challenges, and whatever he seeks to create may require significant resources and possibly loans, which could be in short supply from mainstream sources. Deutsche Bank, which has been Mr. Trump's primary lender for 2 decades, has decided not to do business with Mr. Trump or his company in the future. According to a person familiar with the bank's thinking, Mr. Trump currently owes Deutsche Bank more than $300 million, which is due in the next few years. The bank has concluded that, short of forgiving the debt, it has no way to extricate itself from the Trump relationship before the loans come due. Another longtime financial partner of the Trumps, Signature Bank, is also cutting ties. The bank, which helped Mr. Trump finance his Florida golf course, where Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter, was once a board member, issued a statement calling on Mr. Trump to resign as president in the best interests of our nation and the American people. Susan Turkel, a spokesperson for the bank, said Signature had decided it will not do business in the future with any members of Congress who voted to disregard the Electoral College. Kitty, you gotta not be in front of the microphone. You can be behind it. Ms. Turkel said in the wake of the riots, the bank began closing Mr. Trump's 2 personal accounts, which had about $5.3 million. As his presidency ends, Mr. Trump is returning to a far different business than the one he ran when he took office. Several hotel properties that carried his name have been erased from the portfolio, including ones in New York, Panama, and Toronto. Plans for 2 new budget-friendly hotel lines, once a priority, have been indefinitely shelved, and a product branding windfall, which led Mr. Trump to endorse an array of items from steaks to mattresses, has dwindled. The company also faces a criminal investigation from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which is examining whether the president and his company committed any financial tax crimes in recent years. They probably did. Leaving the White House, however, means that Mr. Trump will no longer face ethical restrictions like bans on international deals, potentially opening new business possibilities. The company could look for new deals in places where company executives believe Mr. Trump's remains popular, such as Brazil, Argentina, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and India. Mr. Trump could also hit the speaking circuit, collecting large payments for each appearance, a company executive said. And some customers are likely to remain loyal to the existing Trump properties, particularly in red or purple states like Florida and North Carolina, no matter what the president does or says or how many times he is impeached. Mikhail, Damelincourt, the managing director at the Trump Hotel in Washington, was proclaimed on Twitter on Sunday that America's living room is ready for you, as the hotel steakhouse and lobby bar aimed to reopen Friday. In Miami, at Trump National Doral, the bar was busy at happy hour Friday, as was the members-only clubhouse, with customers overhearing talked about golf games and business deals, almost none of them wearing masks. Marion McCarthy and her husband Donald were having drinks there, where they had been members for decades. Dozens of other guests were arriving at the resort for the U.S. Am Tour, which drew more than 100 players, according to one scorecard, which added, "Doral Amateur is sold out." "What we are seeing is an overreaction," Mr. McCarthy said. "Once he is out of office, I think we'll be able to come down here and play a little more golf." God, rich people are such insulated assholes. Interesting, though. I'm curious what his business is going to look like in 10 years. I don't think he'll be around then just because he's old and unhealthy, but the Trump brand is probably permanently damaged. I guess we'll see, though.
And some dude shot her, and the SWAT team is right behind her. Like, what? But let me tell you something. And I'm trying not to call names because I want people to have a chance to apologize for being a weak coward. And you know who you are. Anybody. I don't care who you are. If you are a political person, if you're a social media person, you are a flat out coward. We can't go to war with you. No. We can't fight with you. No. When the rubber hit the road and the stuff hit the fan, go sit your sorry self down. And if I see you in public, don't come up to me talking about you my brother or nothing. I may slap you.
The fracturing of the Republican Party, and even more in depth, the Trump supporters in general, when some of them are saying that they agree with the Capitol riots and some are saying they aren't, is very interesting. And I'm wondering how this is going to pan out over the next 4 years. If Trump is still around and runs, is the Republican Party even going to allow him to run in their primary? Is he going to split and try and do a third party thing? Who knows? It's going to be very interesting.
I may slap you and I won't even ball my fist.
Yeah, he's calling them a SWAT team. They weren't a SWAT team.
Yes.
They were riot police and later the National Guard.
I'm keeping it 100 with some of y'all because you are a coward. Stop selling merchandise of stuff you don't believe in.
That's not who we are, Brandon.
Don't sell 1776.
I need a hype person to just stand off camera and yell from a distance that they agree with me. Lupine, would you like to be my hype cat? You need to learn English. But then after that, we got this.
Nobody was taking selfies and doing portraits in 1776, trying to hang out with celebrities and going and doing a rally. They did it big.
You have promo codes, buy my merch.
Buy my merch here. Stop the steal. They weren't talking, they were about it. What do y'all think? How do you think we got a country like this? Violence is never the answer.
Oh no, the kitty screwed up the camera. Oh, kitty. Why? Why do? Oh, she's clicking the mouse, too. Let me fix this. Ooh, very orangey. Okay. Should be good.
Tell that to the countries that we took over. Tell it to the land that we procured.
Andrew Dickerson says, Hannah, can you say hi to my mom? She's right here with me. Hello, Andrew Dickerson's mom. How are you?
Tell it to Mexico. Tell it to Spain. Tell it to Great Britain. What do you mean? What do you mean? What marijuana primo are you smoking to say violence is never the answer? What do you mean? Since when? So why do we spend trillions of dollars on the defense budget? If violence wasn't the answer, why are we fighting these unnecessary wars then?
Oh no, he's learning.
Oh, I forgot. It's because y'all make billions of dollars off of it. Violence ain't the answer. Violence isn't the answer. No, unnecessary violence isn't the answer. Unnecessary. If somebody runs up in my house, violence is the answer. You are going to die. Maybe quickly. I don't know. It depends on how strong you are. Because them 223s are going to eat you alive. That's the answer. Violence isn't the answer if somebody's going down the street with a Bernie Sanders flag on their car and I get mad and go try to hurt them. That's unnecessary violence. You can't get mad if you just lost. You can't get, this is the thing.
You just described what you're doing. You got mad that you lost and then you invaded the Capitol. You're describing unnecessary violence. Good job.
Storming the Capitol is wrong if it was just people just lost.
That's the situation.
Right? If we just lost the election and you want to storm the Capitol, you're an idiot.
Flames on the side of my face.
But if you are under the impression that our country has been hijacked and they're actively stealing an election and they're getting ready to stack the court, they're getting ready to push socialism, they're getting ready to raise taxes, they're getting ready to just force all of these Green New Deal, they're getting ready to put us back in the Paris Climate Accord, they're getting ready to CCP us to death, and you think that we should do nothing? You mother, I want to cuss, but I'm trying to be saved. Y'all whack, bruh. Y'all are out here promoting conservative values, making money off of these conservative people, and when the rubber hit the road, you turn into a straight female dog. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And I know there's big name people that I want to name on here. But they
name names. Fight.
They know who they are.
That Godzilla meme, let them fight.
If you see this and you are the one saying, I condemn, you are a coward. You have been telling people that our country is at stake. And when they go to certify the vote that you claim was illegitimate, smoking guns, release the Kraken. We have to fight. We have to stand up for our country. We have to stand up for Stop the Steal. They got an LLC or something called Stop the Steal that you raise money for. And they get there and they ain't trying to stop nothing.
Yeah, you got scammed. You guys got scammed? You guys got scammed. Did you know that? Did you know you got scammed? Because you did.
No.
They not even trying to hinder.
They not trying to pause nothing.
They not trying to pause. They not trying to hinder. They not trying to slow down the steal. They ain't doing sugar honey iced tea. They stealing your money and they up there trying to build a name for themselves.
Yep.
They trying to build a name. They're not doing anything, y'all. If you go, listen, there's an escalation of a process. You try to do things within the color of the law. You try to do what's right. You say, look, let's file lawsuits. Look at the evidence that we have. People have signed affidavits.
Affidavits aren't as impressive as I think the Trump supporters think they are. Like, an affidavit is just someone saying, I saw a thing. Okay, great. Would mean more if the GOP wasn't soliciting affidavits for money from people, but okay.
People have signed affidavits swearing under penalty of perjury that they are observing things that they believe are not right. That we have fought for, black and white. Martin Luther King fought for us to have equal, fair elections.
What? What?
And people have affidavits that they put out there. You present it to the court. The court says, call BS. And they said, we're not going to even look at it. Get to the Supreme Court. We're not going to even look at it.
Yeah, because there was no evidence. The evidence was shitty, and then the court cases that did get to the Supreme Court didn't have standing there for a variety of reasons. I guess you should do better lawsuits then. That'd be great.
You get to Congress. We're not going to do nothing about it. So then what do? At least try to slow down the steal, which is what they did. They didn't stop anything. They went and voted the same day. They didn't go storm. This is the darkest time in our history. We had to stop counting votes for 30 minutes. Maybe just say 2 hours. This is the darkest time in our history. There were 2 hours and nobody got hurt and no politician got hurt. No, only somebody on our side got killed by somebody who shot her in the head. Secret Service member shot her in the head, which I thought was an illegitimate shooting, because the SWAT team was right behind her, and you could have been friendly fire. I don't get it. So I want you to share this with all your friends and all the people you follow that been selling you merch, that been making videos and memes and doing all this stuff and telling you about 1776, and then they come out and go straight female dog on them. I'm being honest with y'all. I got a kid and everything, and I'm going all the way or I'm not going at all.
That's right.
If I'm showing up there, I'm showing up there to do something, not to go take selfies. I'm not showing up there because that's not what I'm prepared to do at this point. And I'm keeping it 100. They want to be fake with you. I'm keeping it 100. You get what I'm saying? But I don't blame people for.
So you're doing the same hypocritical thing. You're just lampshading it by pointing it out. Great. That definitely makes you better than, I don't even know who you're talking about.
taking that chance during that day. I don't blame people. And that lady, and I'll say this, and she's not a victim. The young lady who got shot, she's not a victim. She fought for something. And you can take that how you want it. She fought for something. She knew very well what could happen to her going into the Capitol building and with people have guns pointed at her. She knew, she decided to make that decision, and she stood up for something. She's not a victim in my eyes. She stood up for something. She's only a victim when you coward mother freaking people come out and condemn her. She fought for this country. And so when you think about...
Is he talking about the woman who got shot? Because she didn't fight for this country. She fought to try and overthrow the results of a democratic election. She's a terrorist.
Stealing something...
Was a terrorist. Whoopsie.
...from you, and you fought for it, you're going to come get it back. But y'all not going to do nothing. They're just going to push socialism. And then now, what it's going to happen to be is every man for themselves. I want y'all to understand that. It's going to be every man for themselves. Because conservatives are too much of cowards to do anything collectively. So it's going to be me saving my household. I got mine. They come up in here, it's going to be 4th of July up in here.
This guy's losing it. This guy is straight up not having a good time, is he?
I got mine. The problem is we can't trust these people. You can't trust these people you follow that's out here telling you one thing and then doing another thing to appease the who? To say that you condemn what happened at the Capitol, who are you condemning that to? Conservatives? Or you condemning it to the left? Because you really want this stuff to keep going because that's how you're gonna make money. You need the rhinos to keep being in there. You will talk about them. You don't want to do nothing about it. You'll promote to make money. You'll work with campaigns to make money, but you don't want nothing done. Let me give you another example. That's like somebody. That's like my wife going on a jog in the neighborhood, and a dude slapped my wife, and she come home and tell me, Brandon, this dude just slapped me, and I'm pregnant, so I can't really throw the hands like I normally do. I need you to go do something about this. And I say, he did what, baby? He slapped you? Well, then I have to go over there and address that. And then I go over there and I say, you know what, bro, you slapped my wife. Boom, 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 boom. He go to the hospital. And then people are mad at me. How dare violence is never the answer. Bro, you slapped my wife. I gotta serve you on GP. Just for the sake of what you did, I gotta serve you. There is no, I gotta go to jail over that. I just go to jail, baby. Here's the bail money. I'm gonna plead not guilty. Give me a lawyer. I gotta go to jail. You slap my wife. Because if you slap my wife and I don't do nothing about it, I lose all credibility and respect. You will never respect me again as a man.
That's right.
You'll step in my yard next. You'll let your dog poop in my yard. You'll come knocking one of my windows out because you know I ain't gonna do nothing about it. That's
The fantasy violence these people engage in their own fantasies. I know I said that, that's redundant. The fantasy violence these people engage in their own heads is disturbing. I do not think about violence as much as these people. Absolutely nutty.
That's exactly what happened on the 7th, the 6th, is that some people tried to do something and we condemned them. And now the left is like, they're not going to do nothing if we pack the courts. What are they going to do?
Nothing.
Sell tickets to a rally and give out promo codes? What are they going to do?
Expanding the court. It's happened before. It's something that Congress can do.
They're not going to do nothing. So now we're going to go harder. When we go and ban the president from social media, what are they going to do? Nothing.
Are you implying that people should take up arms because Donald Trump was banned from Twitter?
I know what the left will do. They're going to burn down buildings. They're going to burn down D.C. They're going to set communities on fire. They're going to burn businesses. They're going to riot and protest in the middle of the street, inconveniencing everybody. We know exactly what they're going to do. That's why some of y'all...
We didn't inconvenience everybody. We just tried to overthrow democracy with violence. Cool. Okay. There's another... Oh, God. We're not even halfway through. So, that's going to be Tatum for today. This guy's going to get banned because he's basically calling for... He has he's 1.5 million subscribers almost. And he's basically calling for violence. Like, my goodness. That's probably not going to go well for him.